Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious about what this is or you've got a bit lost. Welcome everyone. I am Chatty and welcome to my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, where I'm going to be chatting away madly about all the books that I have hauled for the spring season. So I'm looking at any books that came into my house between March and May. Currently doing this in June. So library books are a bit iffy, but I'm going to tell you all the books I earned across March, April, May, book boxes, gifts, and I'm going to do a library book haul as well. So let's start off with the books I've earned. So in March, it was all right. It was pretty good. I earned 3 books. If you're not sure what I mean by earning books, what I do to encourage myself to be healthy, both mentally and physically, is give myself healthy points. There are certain different things I can do in terms of like eating well, going to bed early, blah, blah, blah. And if I succeed in a certain amount of them, I get a point for that day or 2 points for that day. And when I've got 7 points, I'm allowed to get a book out from under my bed, because that's where I keep all the books that I buy myself, unless I've specifically gone, it's a gift for now. So the first one I have is Goodnight, Mr. Tom by Michelle McGorian. This is part of the Puffins Children's Classic series. We've got this beautiful blue cover with aeroplanes and crowds and the silhouette of Willie Beach and Mr. Tom and Sammy the dog. This is an absolute favourite book of mine, so I really was so excited to see it in this edition and in this cover. I knew that I had to have it because I collect my favourite books and love them to be in pretty covers, so this was an absolute treat for me. The next one I hauled was another middle grade, and this is called A Kind of Spark, and it's by Elle McNichols. This is the US cover because I think it's beautiful. With the UK covers, they're very like bright, and it's kind of like they've gone for like a blocky style. But I just saw someone talking about it with this cover, and I just think it's gorgeous. I just love all the colours. I love that she's kind of got these headphones on, and it's got a kind of spark kind of around her ear, and it's all glowing, and that her hair kind of turns into the words along there. This is Elle McNichols is a neurodivergent author, and this book features a neurodivergent character, and everyone I've heard talk about this says it's amazing. I am so keen to read this. I do not know when I'm going to be able to. I tried for middle grade March. I was wondering if I'd get it into my July readathon around middle grade, but I didn't. I might just randomly pick it up because I feel like it, but it's about a girl who's really interested in the witch trials that take place and finding out about these witches, and it just sounds like it's an amazing story, so really excited. I then earned Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson, which is a book that I have been so excited to earn and read for a long time, and finally I did it. So this is an adult fantasy. It's kind of like an urban fantasy, so it's like set in our world but with witches in kind of like a government department. It follows a group of friends. There's so many wonderful like 90s Spice Girl references, friendship, powers, and it explores kind of feminism, pardon me, but like that not all feminists are welcoming to all people. So there's kind of like divides in terms of like race and things like that. So that's not the whole focus, but it does cover that in here, and I loved this book when I read it. So I have already read this one, read it in April, it was brilliant. Okay, April books. I didn't do so well in April, just got the 2. And I think we're just basically just gonna blame the copious amounts of chocolate for that one, really. I mean, Easter time, what can you do? So I earned Black on Both Sides, A Racial History of Trans Identity by C. Riley Snorton. Really intrigued in reading this and kind of finding out more about like the history of trans, particularly kind of from a Black perspective, and specifically kind of looking at Black trans people. I was hoping to read this for Trans Girl April, but unfortunately I couldn't fit it in, and I felt this was like a very heavy topic book, and I just needed to, I'd read quite a lot of heaviness. I just felt I needed lighter things and wouldn't enjoy it if I tried to read it then. I have picked it up now and I'm starting to read it, and it is very, very heavy. Like the subject matter is really fascinating, but it is very kind of like academic and kind of like critical. So I really have to be awake. So I've just looked at the introduction and how it's all being explored. So I'm definitely going to like pace myself and kind of, I'll be reading it over a few months, but really want to kind of like carry on with this and go through it. The next one I earned was a beautiful edition of Heartstopper. So this is the Fairyloot edition. So it's hardback. We've got the image of Nick and Charlie in the colours on the front, and we've got this lovely green foiling around, and we've got little green flowers instead of the leaves for this one, and it's the third one. So they're looking at this map of Paris. For those of you who don't know, this is a graphic YA contemporary novel by Alice Oseman. Under the dust jacket, we have got this bright red, and we've got green foiling on it, and we've got a picture of Charlie giving Nick a kiss on the side of his head whilst they take a picture, because they're so cute. And then down the sides, we've again got the green foiling on the red, and we have end pages which are green with the red flowers. And I can't remember if it includes any other bits and pieces as well. No, I think it was just the same as the original one, where it has like an extra bits and pieces in it, but it's just the same as the original one, but it's just a really nice edition, and it has green sprayed edges. So it goes to match my second one. Didn't manage to get the first one, but I got that in sort of like a Waterstone special edition. And I know Waterstones are now doing other special editions of them in hardback as well. And I'm annoyed because there's extra bits that I don't have in those, but I'm like, I can't justify buying more copies. That would just be insane. Okay, moving on to May. May was better. I earned 3 books. So the first one is Onyeka and the Rise of the Rebles by Tola Okoguru, which I am so excited to read. We have got green sprayed edges. We have got this amazing cover art with Onyeka with her hair. She's in this like gold sun jumpsuit. And here we have, now I don't know if it's her friend, because she seems to have got like blue hair, and I can't remember her having blue hair, and also flaming hands, and I can't remember her having that either. So intrigued as to who this is. So really looking forward to reading this one. I then have Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas, and this is sort of like a prequel to The Hate U Give. So it's kind of like the story of the father, I think it's Maverick. So it's the story of Maverick, and kind of concentrating on that part of like his childhood? No, I think it's his like young early life. Really enjoyed The Hate U Give and On the Come Up by Angie Thomas, so really keen to kind of read the next one. And it has blue sprayed edges that matches the blue face, which is really cool. And finally, I earned, this is a YA contemporary. Okay, finally I earned an adult epic fantasy, The Final Strife by Sarah El Arafi. And first of all, cover is beautiful. We have sort of like this beautifully patterned kind of like marble, and it has like red details kind of picked out, and the cover has got The Final Strife in red foiling, and we've got this kind of like crack red across the side. We've got a red spine, and then we have these end pages with this beautiful artwork here. The cover is white, and then we've just got red on the spine, and we have a character on the front who I don't know, because I love going into my books knowing absolutely nothing about them, so I have no idea who this is. But we've got a female character with like amazing things like threaded into her hair, and we've got this patterning. It sort of looks like woven sort of rug patterning. I'm sure there's a more official name for it, but that's what it looks like. It's the same on the other end page. I just love that it's got such gorgeous detailed artwork and end pages. And I hear absolutely amazing things about this book, so very keen to read that one when I feel I can start another epic fantasy series. I feel I need to crack on with my series. Okay, let's go on to, I'm going to do my library books now actually. So it's a bit of a mishmash of books. Do I have kind of a better order for them? Yes, we've got ones I'm sort of in currently on the go, and ones I've read. Okay, so I've got ones that I've read here. So I've currently got out Sarah J Maas's House of Earth and Blood that needs to go back to the library. I have The Sad Ghost Club 3 by Lizzie Meddings that needs to go back to the library. And I have Welcome to St. Helens by Lewis Hancock that needs to go back to the library. So I just failed to tell you what they are. House of Earth and Blood, adult epic fantasy. On the bookmarks column now, I don't think I've marked anything specific in there. Then we have these two are both graphic novels. I'm really enjoying the graphic novels at the moment. I just really enjoy artwork in the books, and it's just really kind of like easy to read, which is quite nice between the big heavy tomes. Haven't completely finished with all of these yet, so I might need them for some other filming that I haven't finished off, but I finished reading them. Currently on the go with both Midnight on the Safari Star by M.G. Lemonard and Sam Sedgman, which is an Adventures on Trains, the third book in that series. This is a middle grade contemporary mystery. And also on the go with The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which is an adult, whimsical, vibey fantasy. Really enjoying that. This is part of Nicole from Dusty Book Sniffers wheel spin genre book club pick for the month of May, and I didn't manage to read it all in May because I had some other commitments, so I kind of had to pause and then come back to it. So that's those two. And then I have a pile that I haven't yet read but really want to. So I have When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed, which is a graphic novel memoir of what it's like to be a refugee. I have Zachary Ying and The Dragon Emperor by Ziran J. Zhao, which is a fantasy middle grade. And I have Crackle Dawn Dragon by Abby Elphinstone, also a fantasy middle grade. It is the fourth book in the Unmapped Chronicles, which I'm going to be buddy reading with Verdania. And I have The Garden of Lost Secrets by A.M. Howell, which is sort of spooky historical fiction with a bit of a mystery edge to it, it sounds really, really good, and I do really want to read it, as I do with everything. So will I actually manage to fit everything in? That remains to be seen, doesn't it? We will find out. Okay, book boxes. So I subscribe to two. I subscribe to the Shelter Book Club. So this is a book club where every 6 months they send you a book. They do kind of online events on like their Facebook page. They have discussions and they do like a question and answer with the author, and they do like a live book club that you can kind of join in and take part in, or you can just watch. I think they do something else too, and I can't remember what it is. But they usually kind of give you sort of like a little sheet for each book they do. And it gives you kind of like the timeline for the book of like when the different events are. You can choose to vote for books. I don't like to do that because I think I'd just feel annoyed if I really wanted one and then it didn't happen. So I just quite like to be surprised and just kind of go with what comes. You get a little bit about the author, then you get a little bit about Shelter and what they're doing. So you can make a donation. It's like a minimal donation, then you can add more money on top of it, and then it goes to support the charity Shelter. And a lot of the books are, well, most of the books are kind of like based on different kind of cultures and set in different countries around the world. So with a wide variety of authors. So if you're kind of wanting to read more stories from around the world or read more diversely, then this is kind of a really good way of doing that. I got this one in, so this was sent to me at the beginning of April, and it is The Map of Salt and Stars by Zain Yokhadr. I hope that's correct. Yokhadr. I'm not sure. I'm just going to read a little, but I don't usually read the blurbs, but I feel I'm going to mess it up if I don't. So this says, in 2011, the peace of the Syrian city of Homs is disturbed by protests and shelling. A young girl, Noor, flees from across the Levant and North Africa in search of safety. 800 years before, Rawaya, disguised as a boy and apprenticed to a famous mapmaker, set out on an epic quest to chart the globe following the same route. In The Map of Salt and Stars, the tales of these two heroines coming of age in a perilous time interweave and shine a light on a country in turmoil, human resilience, and the power of stories. This sounds brilliant. I'm really excited to get to this at some point. I have recently felt that I've been reading a lot of things that are sort of more outside my comfort zone. So I'm looking forward to just kind of like having a bit of a fantasy, just moment and just kind of reviling in my fantasy, and then I think I'll be able to like pop out again and read things like outside of that, because I do think I'm really going to enjoy this when I sit down to it, so I just want to make sure I'm in the right mood for it. The same with this one. This was sent in May, it's sort of like in the middle of May, and it's set in Jamaica. If you couldn't tell, we've got a lot of kind of red, yellow and green on the cover, and we have got a Jamaican flag there. There's a lot going on, very colourful cover, and it's called Here Comes the Sun, and it is by Nicole Ben. And it says, in this radiant, highly anticipated debut, a cast of unforgettable women battle for independence while a maelstrom of change threatens their Jamaican village. At an opulent resort in Montego Bay, Jamaica, Margot hustles to send her younger sister Thandi to school. Taught as a girl to trade her sexuality for survival, Margot is ruthlessly determined to shield Thandi from the same fate. When plans for a new hotel threaten their village, each woman, fighting to balance the burden she shoulders with the freedom she craves, must confront long-hidden scars. So again, sounds really exciting. Both of these sound like we've got really like strong female characters, which sounds brilliant. So again, looking forward to when I feel like picking these ones up. The other book box I subscribe to is Fairyloot, and this is a YA fantasy book box. You'll probably see it a lot around. If you are someone that follows a lot of fantasy, you probably see a lot of other people kind of subscribing to this one. The books are absolutely exquisite, and you kind of get book related items in the box as well. So previously we kind of had been sort of like slightly behind on receiving the Fairyloot boxes, but we've now kind of caught up. So I've got 4 for you in this haul. So first one, this is a really pretty one. This is This is Welcome to the City of Nightmares by Rebecca Schaffer. Fun fact, Rebecca Schaffer is an author that Ziran J. Zhao really thanked and found very supportive when they were writing Iron Widow. Just a fun fact. I like to know which writers are friends with each other. So the normal cover, I think, is like reds, oranges and greens, and this one we've kind of got like peaches, like dusky pinks into orange and kind of purple, and I love those color combinations. It's like sunset, and I love like sunset colors, and the edges are so gorgeous. We again have this sort of like white dusky pink into sort of dark purple, and if you look here, we have got this little peachy pinky silhouette of a pteranodon on the spine. So this book has dinosaurs, and we've got another pteranodon here flying across sort of like the front of the Empire States Building here. It says, face your fear or become your nightmare on the back, and again, New York skyline with the sunset colours. So under the dust jacket, because we know they're always very, very pretty, is this kind of bluish, sort of bluish sky, but very foggy kind of city pictures. So very much urban fantasy I'm getting from here. And then it wraps all the way around. We've got the old church in sort of neon sign, and above that we have the pteranodon again. So very intriguing to see how the dinosaurs fit into this. And end pages, again, we've got those neon city lights. We've got like a balcony. We have got a young woman with a black glove staring into the shadows. And on the back page, we have that same woman confronting a man, again across a bridge, nightlife in the background. And I've heard this kind of described as sort of like, I think it was sort of inspired by the whole kind of like superheroes, like Batman sort of style Gotham City type of thing. So that sounds really different to kind of some of the stories we get. So I'm really intrigued by this one. The March one we had, I've taken the cover off because I didn't enjoy it. So this is The 7 Faceless Saints by M.K. Lobb. Again, this sounds like a really kind of different one. We have got the sort of like, it feels like there's kind of a lot of politics in this one, which sounds really cool. We've got slightly different, 2 slightly different sides that I think need to come and work together. And 2 characters that I think have got history together that are thrust together again in this. On the front cover, it was kind of like brown, and I just didn't like it, and kind of brown with like this image of a sort of like a cathedral-y type thing with like a statue with bleeding eyes, and it just kind of it felt like it was just like had just been put in there. It didn't feel like it mixed with everything else. Whereas under the cover, we've got this beautiful kind of like red cathedral style patterning. And the spine is gorgeous. It's like it's like cathedral spires. And again on the back. So I just think this is much prettier. The edges are really cool. We've got this, so this is a stone statue. It's like this like cracked marble. And then we've got this sort of blood dripping down and this red star. So really cool kind of like digital, I think it's called digital sprayed edges, where it's like got pictures in it. End pages, gives a very different vibe. So we've gone from kind of like freaky, gothic, political to romance time. We've got long flowing hair from the heroine with a big poofy dress, and they are in an embrace here, and we've got some sort of, looks like sort of like archway with flowers. So interesting to see kind of what comes from that. Oh, I think I get it. Okay, right. So I'm guessing, because I've just looked at the back again, and it's a very different vibe. We've got like a soldier and like an assassin character. So I'm guessing this was young and in love at the beginning of the story. Several years happen. We now have to pick up the story, and this is their kind of relationship where she literally looks like she wants to kill him. Right, so the back page gives more of the vibe of the book. So I presume this is kind of like their idyllic past. Okay, it makes more sense. Quite like that. Also enjoyed that it's really tiny, although all the people who like their books to be the same size are just going to have a fit about that. So sorry, everyone else. But it is quite cute that it's all small. Okay, the April book. Again, another very different one. It's Silver in the Bone. And this is by Alexander Bracken, who has written apparently some really good like dystopia books, and also like famous for Law. I think everyone kind of knows of that one. Not read Law, not read any of her other works. But this does sound really interesting. So we have, the cover's not particularly exciting. I mean, I do enjoy this kind of armor sort of decoration we've got of like, it's almost like an evening glove, but like armor style. And the patterning on the sword is really cool, which is glowing. I love the sprayed edges. Again, digital pattern. We have the hand with the sword and all of this kind of lightning and blue glowing light down the pages there. It's really pretty. Under the dust jacket, again, I really enjoy. We've got like pictures, but we've now gone to like anime style, sort of like cartoonish, which is just really cute, of two characters looking quite contemporary. And then we've got these kind of ruins here. And sort of like old like amphitheater type of ruins, which looks really cool. And inside we have our main protagonist looking like she's exploring this sort of like, looks like a bit of a library thing. And then we have the other character in the book, and we have a male also in this kind of architecture type thing. So it sounds like it's sort of like exploring like an Arthurian type of legend, but it's kind of modern day, and it's got a bit of mystery, and sounds like slightly thriller-esque that they've like got to go and explore in here. I'm not doing a great job of explaining what it's all about. I will put the Storygraph link so you can go and read all about the synopsis, but I may pick this one up soon, just because it feels a bit like a summery read. It's kind of like got that archaeological kind of dig adventure vibe, and that kind of hits the summer feels for me. So I might read it. So I don't want to know a lot about it. So that's why I'm not looking any more into it. And then this one I did know of this book coming out, and it is Divine. So this is the May one, and it is Divine. Always, because they've got one character upside down, I never know which way the book is supposed to be, and it confuses me. So this is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, who I think a lot of people were really enjoying her River Enchanted book. Again, I've not read Rebecca Ross. I just found it quite interesting that we'd got two authors who had previously been like well published, one after the other, and that we'd kind of got this slightly different book. Like we hadn't really had like a full-on fantastical world book series for a while. So I was very hopeful that June would give us that fantastical world. Anyway, back to this book. Again, it looks really pretty. It's all in this kind of like grey colour tone, so it kind of gives that sort of old worldy feel to it. As far as I understand, this is set in kind of like World War II era, but with magical typewriters. And there's some sort of like love story going on, and there's God's involvement. I don't quite understand how it all comes together, but hey ho. The edges I love. It's full of letters. So I think they type letters to each other or something. and it's black on the other sides, but I just love the letter stenciling there. Under the dust jacket, if I can get all the bits and pieces out, we've just got this kind of like gold wheels on this white cover, so it doesn't stand out amazingly, but it's still very pretty. And I do really like the end pages. It is the same both the front and the back, but it is again very pretty. So we've got these 1940s characters in grey, and then we've got all this gold foiling with like some flowers and typewriters and desks and bits and pieces, which looks really cool. So yeah, very intriguing. And we'll see how I feel about them. Just putting it all back together. So finally, I'm going to come on to gifts. So I was very lucky to go with my husband on like a little weekend away, and we went to Leeds. He went to a football match and I went book shopping. So these are all like gifts for having fun that weekend. So I was allowed to go and find some books, and I found an amazing some independent bookshops, which was great to go and explore. I did make some footage to do a little short about this, and still haven't got around to doing it. Anyway, the first one I have is Gender Queer by Onyeka. This is the hardback edition of this graphic novel. It's a memoir about being trans non-binary, and it is just really cool. So those are the end pages. We've got like stars and grass, and the art is just amazing. This is one of my favourite pages, where Maya discovers David Bowie music for the first time. The artwork is just incredible. I have read this book and I absolutely love it. And the next two I got that from like a comic shop. The next books I found an independent bookshop, and it was a queer bookshop, and it was just beautiful. I had the best time in there, to the point that I think I was possibly reminding myself, this isn't booktube, this is real life, and you're coming across quite scary, so please tone it down, chatty. So the first one I haven't heard of at all, but I was really intrigued. So I think this is an independent book. It's called the Kraken Collective, and they specialise in sort of like queer stories. So on the hands of the Kraken, you've got like little, I don't know what they are, but they've got like there's little multicoloured somethings on there. And this is called The City of Strife, an Isandor novel by Claude Arsenault. So this says, Isidore, City of Spires. Bickering merchant families vie for power through the eccentric show of wealth and brutal trading wars. Unspoken rules regulate their battles, but when an idealistic 11 lord provokes their powerful Myron empire, all bets are off. They are outsiders, unbound by local customs, and no one knows how far they'll take their magic to dominate the city. Nobles and commoners alike must fight to preserve their home, even if the struggle shatters friendships, destroys alliances, and changes them irrevocably. City of Strife is the first instalment of the City of Spires trilogy, a multi-layered political fantasy led by an all-LGBTQIAP+ cast. Fans of complex storylines crisscrossing one another, strong friendships, and fan families will find everything they need within these pages, which sounds like my vibe. So I'm really excited for this. Have heard nothing about it, so I'm really looking forward to reading it, and then I will absolutely, if I enjoy it, be getting the next two books from the independent bookshop. And it's really terrible, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I will put a link in the description box. And and then I chose Transmuted, which is a little magazine which is created by trans authors. So they have lots of different contributors, and it's got things like poetry, essays, lots of different bits and pieces in there. And I just love the front cover of this one. There's like this blue and pink jellyfish, which I thought was really cool. It took me a long time to like narrow down my choices, but the last book I chose was Frontier by Grace Curtis. It does help a lot that it's purple, and I was really feeling like I wanted more sci-fi, and the tagline, love, loss, and laser guns really got me. Plus, we have sunset, so rocky landscape and sunset, and it's purple, I'm sold. And under the dust jacket, we have a little tortoise on the spine, which is just very cute. I'm not sure of the relevance of the tortoise, but I'm keen to find out. And the end pages, we have a shadowy figure in purple. So I believe this has got, it's kind of like an apocalyptic situation. A stranger comes to their planet to assassinate someone, I think. And then there's a sapphic romance. And that's all. Love, loss, and laser guns is all I need to know. So very excited to read Frontier. For Mother's Day, I got The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Really keen to read this book. So excited to start this series soon. We will see how that goes. My lovely friend Vicky, who is responsible for the Journey-a-thon artwork, bought me this book. So this is an independently published book about, it's sort of like a memoir, funny memoir about a sweet shop. So it's called Gob-Stopping Gossip at Granny Bubble's Sweet Shop. And it is written by L.A. Knighton. Such a colourful book. It looks really fun. It's got quite wide text on the front, so it looks quite hefty, but I think actually it's going to be quite a quick read. So keen for this one. Again, not my usual genre, so when I'm wanting something a bit different, it will be really good fun. And finally, a birthday present is a long-awaited book for me, and it is Warrior Girl Unearthed by Angeline Boulet. Absolutely love Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boulet, so very, very keen to read this one. Thought it was a completely different book, but actually it is about the protagonist's nieces in here, so I'm really keen to read about that one. And also cover art is beautiful, and under the dust jacket is this wonderful kind of like electric blue colour, which is gorgeous. So there we go. That is all my books. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have had some fun book shopping, library hauling, Kindle downloading, whatever it is you do to get your books from over the spring, even though we are now pretty much in summer, just about. Any of these strike your fancy, you've read before, please let me know. You know I love a chat. Happy reading, everyone.